Hi folks, Brian here. Monday 2023 on the planet. Hope you're all well. In Salvant greenhouse, we're getting down to the 0 temperatures pretty soon. I want to talk a little bit about maintaining our immune system to better fighting off such things as the seasonal flu and anything man-made, you know what I mean. I gotta be careful on this one because they've already targeted me. So they're on to me. So I'm gonna be talking cryptically later in the second half of this video. So for me personally, for me and my family, our objective in the wintertime is to keep our immune system topped off, to give us a better fighting chance of not catching the flus and all that stuff. So how do we do it? How do I do it? First, there's a number of vegetables. And you know what? Pay attention to the Asians. When they go looking for their vegetables, they know what they're doing. There's certain vegetables which will boost your immune system, such as broccoli, red cabbage, bok choy, to name a few. Now, if you want a higher nutritional boost, I strongly encourage you to learn to grow microgreens, which you can do in your own kitchen. Now, I'm a professional licensed grower, although I'm not growing right now. People just don't seem to have the interest. One moment, please, checking my heater. So microgreens. So a microgreen is the first 2 leaf of a vegetable. I'll show you an example in a minute. And that could be anywhere from 6 to 40 times more nutrient packed than the full-grown vegetables in of themselves. There are about 3 or 4 microgreens that you want to grow, which are best for your immune system. The ones I just stated: bok choy, red cabbage, broccoli, and radish. Radish is very easy to grow. Now, a microgreen in a tray can take on about 11 days to grow. Radish about 8. Broccoli and red cabbage are scientifically shown to have anti-cancer and anti-inflammatory properties. Now you ask yourself, how can I eat them? Well, you can sprinkle them in rice dishes, egg dishes, soups, sandwich, smoothies. Every day I make smoothies. Nothing but natural ingredients. Blueberries, which is antioxidant. Any red berry, mostly strawberries, which is anti-inflammatory. Pineapples. So don't use a juicer. You want the fibers to get into your system. The fibers of pineapple will scrub the gut lining like little scrub brushes, falling down to the bottom where you can expel them through your urination. I'll give you one good example right now. He gave us everything that we need. He didn't give us narcotics. He didn't give us drugs. When he created everything on this planet, he created everything with a specific purpose. For example, pineapples, to include the guts. Bananas, high levels of potassium, etc. Blueberries, antioxidant. Any red berry, anti-inflammatory. So he's given us everything. So you put those in the blender, along with some people use coconut juice. I just use straight orange juice. Sprinkle in some microgreens. It's a new adventure every day. I never know what it's going to taste like, mostly. So microgreens. Now, before I get into the controversial subject, I'm just going to show you microgreens, how you're going to grow them. So microgreens, this is a standard 10 by 20 professional microgreen tray. There's actually 2 trays. What you put your dirt in has holes. You put that tray in a tray that does not have holes. So the roots of the microgreens will actually go through the holes. So when you do your watering, we do what's called bottom tray watering. You pour the water not on top of here, you pour the water in your watering tray. because you don't want to get your microgreens wet, promoting mold growth. So a standard 10 by 20 tray. You can do a 10 by 10, smaller tray, so again with holes in your bottom watering tray. Right? You know, if you can't afford that or you don't want to grow such a large quantity, use your imagination. Don't throw away your clamshells, okay? Whatever was in here when my wife bought it, clamshell, cut some slits in the bottom. You keep the top. That is your watering tray. There's your small scale microgreen growing operation. Lots of different clamshells that you can use. Now, a microgreen tray only needs 3/4 of an inch of soil. You can do a little bit more, but it only needs 3/4 of an inch. So if you want to start something like this, you can just keep it on your kitchen table, right close to the sun. Snip some off as you need them. So I'm going to show you a couple. Broccoli. So again, just a small package, right? I have slits cut in the bottom for when I water. Now, I have a separate video on my playlist on growing your own food, so I don't want to go into this in too much length. Microgreen seeds, you do not bury them, you sprinkle them on top of the soil. Specifically for like a seed starting mix. Then you want to put a layer of or this is my trick. Put a layer of wax paper on top. Now these are already growing. Okay, this is about day 3, right? So I put it on top of the seeds because you want to put something firm on top, and just put a rock on top. So what that does is you're pushing the seeds into the dirt, encouraging the root growth. You do that for maybe 3 days. Then you can take off your top weight. And then that's what they look like compressed. There's a lot more. So after 3 days, you want to put a blackout dome. You don't want to expose them to the light. So you want to cover them up with anything, a blackout dome. And what this will do is it will encourage stronger stem growth. So the microgreen is pushing up, it's looking for the light. So that strengthens up the stem. So you do that for another 3 days. Then after 3 days, you take off your blackout dome and expose them to the light. And then these will become about maybe 1.25 inches tall. This is broccoli. And I don't know if you can see all the white strings. That's the roots reaching down to the bottom slits. Broccoli. A fun one to grow. And also good for you is sunflower shoots. So again, this is maybe a 1/2 inch thick. Just another clamshell, right? Slits in the bottom. They've already started to germinate. And again, I'm keeping the weight on because I'm keeping the seed pushed into the soil to encourage those little white stems or their roots to embed themselves into the soil. In about 11 days, they're ready. So again, broccoli, most beneficial for building up your immune system. Bok choy, even though it's not listed, that's why the Chinese eat bok choy. Red cabbage. So one of your prepping ideas you better start thinking about is getting your bulk microgreen seeds. This is broccoli. I'm in Canada. I get mine from Mums Sprouting Seeds, based in Saskatchewan. In the United States, I believe it's called True Leaf Market. You can go on the internet, Google how to grow microgreens. There's a well-known former grower here in Kelowna called Curtis Stone. You have to go back several years to his videos. He'll teach you a lot, but there's many others out there. And again, I've done a special video. Look in the playlist, Growing Your Own Food. Get them bulk. Store them in a cool, dry place. When I order my seeds, I will order about 50 pounds at a time. And that costs me around $250. However, because red cabbage is so popular for building your immune system, 50 pounds of red cabbage costs, the last time I looked about a year ago, $1,370. You don't have to spend that much. Do some research. Don't go to a garden supply store, right? They sell them in small little packages and they'll grossly inflate the profits, the cost for personal profit. Just find a direct supplier, right? Now I'm going to switch tunes. This is where I got to start talking cryptically because they removed my videos. When we start talking about the substance people took into their shoulder and introduced systemic circulation, I hope most of you have realized by now the substance Mike Romeo November Alpha was created first. They needed a reason to introduce it systemically into us humans. I hope you realize by now the Whiskey Uniform Hotel Alpha November was therefore created to give them a reason to introduce the substance systemically. The question is why? There's been one single missing link to this puzzle. And I think I have it. And this relates to Mr. John Moore, Liberty Man. The videos on this subject. And the subject of the Planet X system and the weakening of our protective magnetic field. Our weakening protective magnetic field, which protects us from cosmic radiation and ultraviolet radiation. One moment. Got a new propane heater doing it for the first time. Just making sure I'm not going to blow up. Listen carefully. I've already explained what the substance does. I had my highest level of occupational first aid, maintained that for 28 years. Following that, or during that time, not following it, because I wanted to know more. I did a little bit the equivalent of pre-med study. I have a pretty good idea how it works. Before we get into that, ultraviolet radiation, of which we have now increased levels hitting us because of our weakening magnetic field, results in UV-induced immunosuppression. UV-induced systemic immunosuppression that makes us weak. It is related to the development of antigen-specific regulatory T cells. An important biological consequence of the UV-induced immunosuppression is the loss of surveillance of newly generated malignant cells, death-causing cells. Increased UV radiation, such as we're going to be getting, is suppressing our immune system and its ability to recognize cancer and other end-of-life causing cells. I can't say that word. They'll pick it up. ANTIGENS. So remember this, which is not supposed to be introduced systemically, sends its message to the nucleus, the heart of the cell, and instructs the cell to produce a ANTIGEN, which is supposed to be foreign. If our immune system is breaking down and doesn't recognize it, it's going to wreak havoc on the cell. It sends that ANTIGEN to the outside surface of the cell, such as has been found on the myocardium. Sudden you-know-what death. There's a link. There's a link to what they want to give us and the weakening of our magnetic field and the increased ultraviolet radiation coming in. The next time they develop something, such as they indicated they are going to do, and such as they have already said will be 10 times worse than the last time they did it, it all comes down with the geomagnetic excursion as a result of the approaching Planet X system. Twofold. Do what you can to keep your immune system boosted. Eat healthy. Get your microgreens going. There's 10 vegetables, cold, hardy vegetables that you can grow throughout the wintertime. Beets is another good one. Anti-cancer properties. Very good. A very difficult microgreen to grow, but beets in themselves in the ground, such as I got, very easy to grow. Start eating healthy, folks. You want to make a salad? Lettuce? No. Get some bok choy. Get some red cabbage. Crumple up a bit of broccoli. Radish. Radish has anti-diabetic properties, or helps to prevent diabetes. A vegetable, very easy to grow. A microgreen, even easier. Takes 8 days. It's just as spicy as a radish. Introduce them into your... Don't just start eating a whole bunch of microgreens, right? Mix them in with everything. Put them in your smoothies. Put them in your drinks. You make a sandwich, a healthy sandwich, sprinkle them in your sandwich. You have some scrambled eggs. You have a rice dish, soup, sprinkle them in. So a microgreen will stay fresh in the fridge for 10 to 12 days. You can also freeze them. So I think that's about it. the most concerning thing is the ultraviolet radiation coming in. So one of my last talks today, I was speaking so fast, trying to concentrate on my driving, I forgot to add something in. So the cosmic rays, as they enter the atmosphere, interact with the atmospheric atoms, and a secondary process takes place, a change, creating secondary showering particles that come down to us. It's the cosmic rays that breaks down and depletes our ozone layer. Forget the BS you've been reading that, oh, our ozone hole has been sealed up. No, it hasn't. It is the ozone layer which protects us from the ultraviolet radiation. Anyway, that's it for now, folks. Get growing.